Hi friends, welcome back to Sharon Zoology. See, in our previous session, we learned about the organs involved in female reproductive system. So in this session, I am going to explain about oogenesis, female gametogenesis of oogenesis. So oogenesis means formation of female gamete or egg. Formation of female gamete or egg. Egg formation or formation of ovum or formation of oocyte. This process is known as oogenesis, formation of egg. This oogenesis begins before birth. It begins before birth. So this oogenesis begins in embryonic stage. Oogenesis takes place in this ovary as well as oviduct because this process of oogenesis is completed in fallopian tube or oviduct. It is discontinuous process. Oogenesis is not a continuous process. See, its formation begins in embryonic stage, but it completed only after the entry of sperm. So it is not a continuous process, it is discontinuous, and meiosis arrest occurs in this oogenesis. Meiosis arrest occurs in oogenesis. We will discuss later about this discontinuous process and meiosis arrest of this oogenesis. Anyway, this oogenesis means it is formation of egg and it begins before birth. It takes place in ovary and oviduct. It is a discontinuous process and meiosis arrest occurs in this oogenesis. Then the whole process of oogenesis have three phases. They are multiplication phase, growth phase, and maturation phase. The whole process of oogenesis have three phases called as multiplication phase, growth phase, and maturation phase. First is this multiplication phase means multiplication phase. This one is a oogonial cell. Oogonium. Or egg mother cell. This oogonial cell or egg mother cell formed from the primordial germ cells. This formed from the primordial germ cells of yolk sac. And the embryonic stage, this primordial germ cell migrated to ovary, and within the ovary, this primordial germ cell differentiated from oogonium or egg mother cell. So this oogonium or egg mother cell, the stem cell for egg production, and this egg mother cell is formed from the fundamental cell called as primordial germ cell formed in the yolk sac in our embryonic stage. And during this multiplication phase, this oogonial cell undergo repeated mitosis. These oogonial cells are diploid cell. This diploid oogonial cells undergo repeated mitosis. What happened? Causes the multiplication of this oogonial cell. Because it undergo repeated mitosis, what happened? The copies of these oogonial cells were formed. So copies of the clones of this oogonial cell formed during this multiplication phase. Suppose this one is ovary in embryonic stage. And this ovary contains this diploid oogonial cell. This is a oogonium or egg mother cell. And in this stage, this diploid oogonial cells undergo repeated mitosis causes the multiplication of oogonium. Causes the multiplication of oogonium in embryonic ovary. That means this multiplication phase takes place in embryonic ovary. It takes place before birth. So in the embryonic ovary, these oogonial cells undergo multiplication or mitosis form millions of these oogonial cells. All of these cells are called as oogonium. Millions of such oogonial cells formed in this embryonic ovary because it undergo mitosis. Next is growth phase. Here, each of these oogonial cell formed as a result of mitosis. See, we know in embryonic ovary, millions of oogonial cells formed. And each of these oogonial cells undergo growth. Each of these cells undergo growth. Each oogonial cell undergo growth by acquiring nutrients and new cytoplasmic materials. By acquiring new nutrients and new cytoplasmic material, growth of these oogonial cells takes place. Each of these oogonial cells undergo growth. So each of these oogonial cells undergo growth by synthesizing new nutrients and cytoplasmic material. After the growth, this oogonial cell called as primary oocyte. After the growth, each oogonial cell is called as primary oocyte. So this oogonium undergo growth to form primary oocyte. That means here one oogonium gives rise to one primary oocyte. Four oogonium gives rise to four primary oocyte. Here million primary oogonium formed by multiplication, and each of these cells undergo growth to form millions of primary oocyte in embryonic ovary. So million primary oocyte formed in embryonic ovary. So what is this primary oocyte? This primary oocyte is nothing but oogonium. After the growth, this oogonial cell called as primary oocyte. See here, during this growth phase in oogenesis, this is the cytoplasm of this primary oocyte. Here, the yolk or reserved materials, the yolk materials are formed during growth phase in oogenesis. So here, during this growth phase, the yolk materials are synthesized by a process called as vitellogenesis. So vitellogenesis or yolk deposition takes place during the growth phase in oogenesis. So as a result of this growth, this oogonial cell now called as primary oocyte. It also takes place in embryonic stage. So this growth phase also completed in embryonic stage. But in this stage, suppose this is a primary oocyte. This one is a primary oocyte. In this embryonic stage, this is the ovarian cavity. Some of the stromal tissues or the cells of ovarian stroma formed around this primary oocyte. In embryonic stage, some of the stromal tissues formed around this primary oocyte in embryonic ovary. So in this embryonic ovary, some of the stromal cells, the cells seen in the cavity of ovary, formed around this primary oocyte. And these formed cells are called as granulosa cells. These ovarian cells or these stromal cells are called as granulosa cells. And it has some secretory role also, this granulosa cell. Now this primary oocyte along with a single layer of granulosa. How many layers? Only single layer of granulosa formed around this primary oocyte. Now this primary oocyte along with a single layer of granulosa called as primary egg follicle. Primary follicle. That means millions of such primary follicle formed in embryonic ovary. We will discuss in later about the ovarian follicular development. Anyway, here such primary follicles formed in embryonic ovary. In this primary follicle, this is the primary oocyte now in this primary follicle. So now this primary oocyte in this primary follicle. So within the primary follicle, this primary oocyte start first meiosis. This primary oocyte start first meiosis. That means this primary oocyte enters. This primary oocyte enters prophase 1. That means this primary oocyte enters in prophase 1 of this meiosis. So this primary oocyte just begins the first meiosis. That is, it enters the prophase 1. But the follicular cells of this ovary secrete some oocyte maturation inhibiting factors. In this primary follicle, the follicular cells of this primary follicle secrete some oocyte maturation inhibiting factors. Oocyte maturation inhibiting factors. These oocyte maturation inhibiting factors retain this prophase stage. These oocyte maturation inhibiting factors retained in this prophase stage in this embryonic stage. So embryonic stage, this primary oocyte start first meiosis. That means it enter into the next phase, maturation phase. In embryonic stage, this primary oocyte start first meiosis means it enters the next phase of oogenesis, maturation phase. That means this maturation phase begins in embryonic ovary. But the follicular cells of ovary secrete some oocyte maturation inhibiting factors which will retain this prophase first stage. So meiosis temporarily arrested in this embryonic stage. Meiosis arrest occurs in this embryonic stage. But at puberty, this primary follicle start development. At puberty, these follicular cells start development. That means at puberty, several layers of granulosa cells formed around this primary follicle. As a result, this primary follicle develops into secondary follicle, tertiary follicle. When this primary follicle develops to the tertiary follicle, the tertiary follicular cells inhibit or overcome this oocyte maturation inhibiting factors. So at puberty, this primary follicle develops into secondary follicle. What happened? That means several layers of these granulosa cells or follicular cells formed around this primary oocyte. And this primary follicle develops into secondary follicle, then to tertiary follicle. These follicular cells produce some signal. That signal will overcome this oocyte maturation inhibiting factors. What happened? These signals produced from this follicle inhibit these oocyte maturation inhibiting factors. As a result, first meiosis completed. So first meiosis completed in puberty. We know this oogenesis begins before birth in embryonic stage, but that first meiosis completed only at puberty stage. In which follicle? In tertiary follicle. We'll discuss in later about this follicular development. Anyway, at this tertiary follicle, this primary oocyte complete the first meiosis. See, when it complete the first meiosis, as a result of first meiosis, two haploid cells were formed. As a result of first meiosis in this primary oocyte at puberty, two haploid cells were formed. But these formed haploid cells are unequal. As a result of the completion of first meiosis, two unequal haploid cells are formed. That unequal cells are, one is a small and non-functional haploid cell. This small and non-functional haploid cell called as first polar body. First polar body. The small and non-functional haploid cell called as the first polar body. Then a large haploid cell also formed. This large cell is a functional cell. This large haploid cell called as oocyte. Secondary oocyte. So here when this primary oocyte complete the first meiosis, what happened? A small haploid non-functional polar body and a large functional secondary oocyte formed. Suppose this is the primary oocyte. This primary oocyte is a diploid cell. 2N is a diploid cell. Its cytoplasm contains yolk or reserve food materials. Yolk materials or vitellogenesis takes place during the growth phase. Here, during this first meiosis, this nuclear division is complete and equal. Nuclear division is complete and equal. This is followed by cytokinesis or cytoplasmic division. During the cytoplasmic division, these yolk materials are here. This yolk material is one of the factors which inhibit the cleavage or division of a cell. So cleavage or division pattern changes in according to the deposition of yolk materials in cytoplasm. So here, because of the yolk in cytoplasm, this cytoplasmic division is become unequal. Because these yolk materials act as an inhibitor for this cytoplasmic division. As a result, this cytoplasmic division become unequal. So this nucleus with a small volume of cytoplasm. This nucleus with a small volume of cytoplasm form a small cell called as polar body. Nucleus with a small volume of cytoplasm form the polar body, and nucleus with this haploid nucleus with a large volume of cytoplasm. This haploid nucleus with a large volume of cytoplasm form a large cell called as secondary oocyte. So why this meiosis is unequal? Because of the presence of yolk material in cytoplasm, the cytoplasmic division is unequal. As a result, two unequal haploid cells were formed. They are the small and non-functional polar body, and larger functional cell is secondary oocyte. Why this polar body is non-functional? Its fate is it undergo degeneration. Why this polar body is non-functional? Because this polar body have only lesser amount of cytoplasm. This cytoplasm of this polar body is not sufficient for its development. So it is non-functional cell. This polar body is non-functional and its fate it undergo degeneration. But a functional cell formed called as secondary oocyte. So at puberty, as a result of the completion of first meiosis, a polar body as well as secondary oocyte formed. But in this tertiary follicle, this follicle is tertiary follicle. We got this secondary oocyte as well as a polar body. Then here, within this tertiary follicle, this secondary oocyte starts second meiosis. First meiosis is here completed. Then within this tertiary follicle, this secondary oocyte starts second meiosis. But here, again, this follicular cell secrete oocyte maturation inhibiting factors. In this tertiary follicle, it starts the second meiosis. But again, this follicular cell secrete this oocyte maturation inhibiting factors. What happened? The second meiosis also arrested. A second meiosis arrested in metaphase 2 stage. So second meiosis arrested in metaphase 2 stage. But at that time, this ovarian follicle, this tertiary follicle now develops to the fully matured ovarian follicle. The tertiary follicle now develops to fully matured ovarian follicle. This fully matured ovarian follicle called as Graafian follicle. This fully matured ovarian follicle called as Graafian follicle. So when it starts second meiosis, the second meiosis again arrested, but at the same time this tertiary follicle develops to fully matured ovarian follicle. When the follicle becomes fully matured, this follicle ruptured. This follicle ruptured and released this secondary oocyte from the ovary. When the follicle becomes fully matured Graafian follicle, this follicle ruptured and released from the ovary to the fallopian tube. This secondary oocyte released from the ovary to the fallopian tube. So now this secondary oocyte, this haploid secondary oocyte, released from ovary to the fallopian tube. So when the follicle becomes the fully matured Graafian follicle, this Graafian follicle ruptured and this secondary oocyte in metaphase 2, the secondary oocyte in metaphase 2 released from the ovary to the fallopian tube. This secondary oocyte released to the fallopian tube. We will discuss in later about this releasing of ovum from this or secondary oocyte from fallopian tube, that is ovulation. We will discuss later. Anyway, this secondary oocyte released to the fallopian tube. Now this fallopian tube contains secondary oocyte in metaphase 2. That means here the meiosis is not completed or oogenesis is not completed. So this is the secondary oocyte in fallopian tube. But this released secondary oocyte in metaphase 2 is viable only up to 24 hours in this fallopian tube. This released secondary oocyte in metaphase 2 within the fallopian tube. Now it is in fallopian tube. It is viable only up to 24 hours. So here, if within the fallopian tube, a sperm entry occurs. If a sperm entry occurs in this body, when that sperm start penetrating this secondary oocyte, when sperm start penetrating this secondary oocyte, it completed the second meiosis. That means this cell overcome the maturation inhibiting factors as a result of the signal from this sperm. When sperm start penetrating this secondary oocyte, it completed the second meiosis. As a result, the nuclear division completed. See, completed the second meiosis means the nuclear division completed here. But here also the cytoplasm contain yolk materials. Because of the yolk in cytoplasm, the cytoplasmic division become unequal. What happened? As a result, a small non-functional second polar body. A small non-functional second polar body and a large functional. This is the small non-functional second polar body and a large functional one. The large functional cell called as egg or ovum. The correct term is oocyte, egg or ovum or oocyte formed. So when sperm start penetrating this secondary oocyte, only after the sperm entry, this secondary oocyte complete the second meiosis. As a result, a small non-functional polar body and a large functional egg or ovum formed. So this egg formation takes place in fallopian tube. This egg formation takes place in fallopian tube only after the secondary oocyte has been penetrated by a sperm. This oogenesis takes place in this ovary and fallopian tube. Oogenesis completed in fallopian tube only after the sperm entry. That means in human life, most of the oogenesis is not completed because this oogenesis completed only after the sperm entry. What is the fate of this egg? See here, this egg formed only after the sperm penetration. After this sperm penetration, sperm nucleus enters this egg cytoplasm followed by fusion of these two nucleus and forms zygote. That means if oogenesis completed, the fate of egg is it will become zygote or the unicellular embryo because oogenesis completed only after this sperm entry. But if sperm entry not occurred, this secondary oocyte is viable only up to 24 hours. After 24 hours, this secondary oocyte start degeneration and completely degenerate. So this is the process of oogenesis. Then it has three phases: multiplication, growth and maturation phase. Multiplication of oogonial cell in multiplication phase during embryonic stage. Growth of each oogonium takes place, and during this growth phase, yolk materials are formed, and now the cell called as primary oocyte. And next is the maturation phase. In this maturation phase, this primary oocyte undergo first meiosis, form two haploid cells. They are the polar body as well as secondary oocyte. And these two cells undergo second meiosis to form one polar body and one egg. So here, how many egg formed from a oogonium? One oogonium gives rise to one primary oocyte. One primary oocyte gives rise to one secondary oocyte. One secondary oocyte gives rise to one egg. Thus, one oogonium gives rise to one ovum or one egg. Then is there any significance in this unequal meiosis in oogenesis? What is the significance of this unequal meiosis? See, the significance of this unequal meiosis means this unequal division resulted in the accumulation of more cytoplasm to this egg. This unequal division helps in the accumulation of more cytoplasm to the egg. See here, as a result of this first meiosis, a small cell and a large haploid cell with a large volume of cytoplasm. Again, it undergoes second meiosis to form the second polar body and a large haploid cell. So this unequal meiosis helps in concentrating more cytoplasm to the egg. This is the significance of unequal meiosis in oogenesis. This unequal meiosis helps in concentrating more cytoplasm to this egg. So in this session, we completed about this oogenesis in brief, and will explain this follicular development and all of this oogenesis in my upcoming videos. So keep watching my videos. Thanks for watching Sherwin Zoology. Bye.